If asked, I think most people would agree that we are at the pinnacle of human civilization. Never we've attained such level of sophistication, but I don't tend to agree. I think a lot was sacrificed for economic benefit, and the decency is just not a goal anymore. And I think it's decency, the unit of measurement that we should use, not economic success, but decency. It's seriously lacking in the world. There's this book written by Weston Price. He narrates what happened to the world, what happened to isolated tribes and villages that never seen roads or engines or canned foods or sugars or whatever, or flour or other things like that. They never seen those things, and in the name of profit and in the name of progress, they started consuming these things, and something happened to them. They never had cavities, and suddenly everybody got cavities, neurological diseases, cardiovascular diseases, all sorts of weird things that never happened before were now showing up. Why? Decency. You see, the modern world doesn't care about decency, they care about making profit. It is so convenient, to can food. It is so convenient to riddle food with all sorts of pesticides and herbicides, and it's so convenient to add tons of sugar, just get people addicted and you will sell a bunch. It's just convenient, and you will produce a lot because you will destroy all the natural predators of these products. But the products themselves will be infested with chemicals. Chemicals that will disrupt the body's natural functions, nutrient and assimilation, for instance, and it will create, all sorts of what they call modern diseases. Whenever they encounter something they don't know, they just call it LC, L cancer. It's something like that. Because, not to mention, the juice that they put in the arm. That's another one. That's so. Tradition cultures actually knew how to take care of the body better than nowadays. Your modern doctor has no clue. He knows how to sell drugs, that's what he was taught. Most of them are not scientific doctors. They just do a job, they memorize something and they sell you stuff. And a few of them might be, in the scientific area. You might try to, show them and propose them different alternatives, but some of them resist because some people don't have the malleability of the brain to be trained again. You can't train some people new tricks. You just can't. It's impossible. It just causes cognitive dissonance, and those are not scientists at all. A scientist must be someone who has the ability to hold multiple options, and hold them and not, jump into conclusions and admit they are wrong. That's a big one. Most people live in the ego. They can't admit they're wrong. Admit they are wrong. Hold multiple, opinions. Try to find the correlation between them, the causation, and do not get bamboozled by the effects. Most people go by the effects and completely ignore causes. And of course, every time they are discussing or debating or talking, there's never a loser. There's never a loser when you are talking science with someone or discussing or having an argument, there's never a loser. Never. No one loses. You know, maybe in that discussion you might get redirected. Well, if you have enough humility to accept you were wrong, most people live in the ego, like I said. So those are not scientists. Um, so, in the name of progress, a lot was sacrificed in the name of economic progress. You see, today's standards of living are not measured by decency, but by economic success. So everything is an economic model. Everything. Traditional cultures, for instance, they knew that after a certain age, you had to, drink some apple cider vinegar, for instance, a spoon of it before eating. Preferably, with a straw or mixed with water so you wouldn't damage your teeth. Um, why? So you would produce, better hydrochloric acid. Why? The hydrochloric acid, is essential to break down the vitamins and the minerals. If you don't have enough, your body is not going to assimilate. So it's not going to assimilate those vital nutrients and minerals. The B vitamins, the zinc, the iodine, the salt. The salt is important for the hydrochloric acid to break down food. And amongst many things, will generate nitrate oxide. Nitrate oxide is extremely important for people above 40 because it takes care of your veins and arteries, you see. It maintains their flexibility. If your body is incapable of producing nitrate oxide, you're going to have extremely high blood pressure. That's when it always starts, after 40. Something curious about mouthwash, for instance. We are getting used to using it. I haven't used it in some years now, but I used to use it once a day. And fluoride, and antiseptical or antibacterial, like those antibiotics, etc. Or those creams you put in your hand, antibacterial, antiseptical creams and everything. Those mouthwash and antiseptical will damage your saliva, and it's very important that your saliva is in good health. We are constantly, moving saliva around our mouth, and almost indirectly we swallow that saliva. I'm always swallowing saliva, even I don't even know why, but I'm always doing it. Why? Because our stomach requires it. The bacteria in the saliva will go to the stomach and will help the body produce nitrate oxide. It's crazy, isn't it? Digestion starts in the mouth. If you're always, keeping your mouth, cleaned with a mouthwash and stuff, you are actually damaging yourself. It's crazy. Ancient traditions, like in Japan, they have this custom of drinking apple cider vinegar before eating. They say it's good for the skin. Yeah, it's good for the skin because your body kind of breaks better the nutrients and the minerals, and it gives you that glow in the skin, so anyway, I'm gonna start consuming apple cider vinegar and see how it goes. So I'm gonna finish this with a paragraph here about philosophy. What is philosophy? A definition of philosophy. One of the definitions, at least. Philosophy, indeed, it seems, is a road. The utterance means, then, choose that philosophy is that road to wisdom in which you will not cut into two, in which you will propound not contradictions, but firm and unchanging truths, strengthened by scientific demonstrations through science and contemplation. That is, philosophy for example, in the Pythagorean matter, that philosophy which travels through the corporeal things and sense objects which more recent thinkers immoderably adopt, thinking God and the qualities of the soul and the virtues and simply all prime causes in reality are the body, i.e., the materialists, is slippery and easily reversible. Witness the very different accounts of it, whereas the philosophy which progresses through the immaterial, eternal, and intelligible objects that always remain the same and do not admit in themselves of destruction or change, this philosophy, like its subject matter, is unerring and firm. Philosophy is universal. Philosophy doesn't have an axis on a place or a person. Philosophy has no dualities. There's contraries in philosophy, but they are not contradictories. You see, if scientists followed this model, I think we would achieve a better, world, a better, decent world. No contradiction, no contradictions. Yeah. Anyway, tell me what you guys think. Have a nice day.